was during Christmas time.
Yeah.
Wasn't
not just random like in June.
March 13th.
Yeah. And we had several...
Because that would be crazy. Yeah. It's March 13th. It's like, let's just listen to Christmas music. Let's decorate the house.
It'd be almost as crazy as having like a year-round Christmas room.
Right, but no one's actually doing that because that's a kid's fucking dream. It's a kid's dream. I told you that in privacy.
On the mic.
Stop.
Welcome to the watering hole. Hey, the $10 better on me to do watering hole, bitch. Yeah. We just added a theme song after the theme song. Like we have a song that starts us off, and then it comes into us. I
like the first song better. I don't think that was a good
second one.
I actually recently. This is how stupid I am. I was literally by myself, alone in my house last night, practicing my Tom Waits scat to like I can't remember if it was Christmas Carol.
You were practicing your Tom Waits scat.
It was so bad.
Give us some of your Tom Waits scat right now.
What was the song that I was doing it to? Because the song I was doing it to was actually like really good, but I just kept being like, I was just like washing my dishes like ow.
Now I'm like visualizing you literally walking around just getting
and got and it was like and then and I was like, what was the beat? Because the beat actually I was actually legitimately
it was pulling you. It was pulling
I was like rip it chow. It was just so stupid, and I was like, literally, it was one of those moments where you're like, if this was a movie, this would be the endearing moment of my character, like the Tom Cruise risky business underwear dance scene, like where the person's alone.
Is that how you view that moment?
Yeah.
You view it as the endearing thing?
Yeah, it's really endearing.
Yeah.
That's why I shared the story. So
perspective is everything.
I shared that story so that the endearing moment, the audience, if we're counting points, baby, I'm up.
I don't know. They heard a little bit of your scat.
And it won them over. They're like, I can see. That's raising the dishes in the roll.
I think everyone just went, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense. There was something I was missing about Tyler, and there it is. I just filled in the hole.
Absolutely true.
I can't even say, if I were to say I haven't done that myself, I'd be lying.
I think everyone would be. Just people don't say it on a public platform where there's a mic in front of them.
Yeah, there's times where I'm driving and like Jack Black comes out of nowhere. Like just my inner Jack Black just comes out. Yeah. Yeah. It happens, man. Sometimes you got to enter scat and you got to just
go for it.
Scat also means poop. So I just said sometimes you got to enter scat.
That's true. Isn't it throwing poop? I thought like scat was like when you...
No, I don't think so. You throw scat. I don't think scat is thrown poop.
Throw scat. We're going to figure out which one's which. No, you don't throw scat. Scat is what is
there's proper
thrown.
Scat etiquette. Yeah. So it's a thing.
It's not the act of throwing. It's what is being thrown. We're talking nouns and we're talking verbs.
This is where I wish we had the whole... set up with the TV right here.
Pull that up right now.
Wait, actually,
pull that up.
Actually,
yeah.
Is it okay? Is it possible?
What?
Okay, we got to talk about that later. We'll talk about that. Is it possible to like put an image of a video? No, put an image of a video. Is that possible?
On the thing? Yeah.
Just put it in the video.
It's possible.
Okay, that's just something good to know. It's just good to know. There's right.
Hold on, right here.
Right here. You can see.
Let's make the parameters.
This is my GM right here, and he's scatting very drunkenly at a restaurant.
Okay, we gotta freeze frame it. That way we can just like. Okay, great. So now if it doesn't work, we're just gonna cut that whole thing out. Yeah, but if it does work, we got the frame.
Yeah. So here's the story. We're playing. I was in a band, Dakar, and we would play the patio party. It was like the opening of the patio in the summer. This is in Colorado, and there was a GM we had. Everyone would get drunk. It was a great family of people at a restaurant. Like it was a good energy, and our GM was drunk, and we're playing and we're just grooving. And he goes, Freddie, he had his drink in his hand. He was like, let me come over there. Let me scat with you. And so I have a video.
Was this man white or black?
He's white.
It definitely matters. It definitely matters.
Yeah, and he he gets up and he starts scatting with me. So there's a video of me and him just doing scats back and forth, and he was like,
he's like Inspector Gadget over here.
Oh, yeah. He was like,
go, Gadget.
It was great. So there's a video on. If I can somehow download the video from Facebook, we're gonna put it in. We're gonna put
it's gonna be right here. What? For real though, it's like it really matters. Like I don't know what it is
that is white or black.
If because if you scat and you're white, the cards are stacked against you, baby. Like Tom Waits is the only one I've seen that's been able to pull it off.
And Jack Black.
I guess you call it scatting. I always don't really call it scatting because he's always doing like rock stuff, and I guess I always think more blues, jazz when it comes to scatting stuff. But yeah, I guess so. But yeah, it's like the cards are stacked against you. Everyone's looking at you to fail, But like if you're black, it's kind of like, well, maybe there's something here.
Well, scatting, even in and of itself, scatting is a weird.
I'm not a fan
It's a weird
of it.
thing.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Dude.
Dave Matthews does it. A lot. A lot of the.
Dave's another white guy that can do it.
Yeah. I mean, what he does is kind of uniquely him. It's Is that your Dave impression?
He always like kicks his head back like he's like in an orgasm, just like. I wish I could think of like Dave Matthews songs off the top of my head right now, but I'm drawing a blank of ones that could do that too.
Now all I can picture is literally just Dave Matthews. Dude, it's Christmas time. We have a little. You can't. We have stuff off screen, but look at this. This is Christmas decorations right here. This
you guys
is
are probably
prime time. Christmas coming.
Yep, it'll still be before Christmas when this comes out.
Yeah,
this will be about the 21st. So this is getting you in the little festive mood.
We're in the mood. 4 days from now, Christmas is here.
I just want to ask you a quick question. What's your favorite part about the holidays? We'll say the holidays in general.
Damn. So my holidays have been so like hodgepodge and just all over the place because of the way that I grew up. Like moved out of my mom's house at 17. Moved in with friends who end up becoming like their family, and then now I have like every Christmas I have like 3 different families that I'm celebrating.
A lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, money I ain't got, and so it's always been so interesting. But I think Christmas is one of the holidays where it's the biggest payoff. So if you struggle to get to up to the point, you get all your Christmas presents, you have your plan, you have everything set, you got your decorations, you spent the money, get over it. It feels like the payout is much bigger. And the moment on Christmas morning when you no longer have to worry about anything. Right. And it's one of the few times in America where there's not a lot of hustle and bustle as far as the...
You're talking the day?
The day.
Because leading up to the day,
No, I'm not talking about the moment around. I'm talking about Christmas Day.
Right.
Is one of the few days where almost everything is closed, and the only thing you can really do is spend time with people. And I'd probably say that's my favorite takeaway from it.
I can see that. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always tough because growing up in New England, you don't really feel like Christmas spirit until you start to get that like whipping cold on your face and the snow starts falling.
It's just whipping cold. I felt it was like you were writing a novel there.
Yeah, it's like the cool breeze that just brisks right through, freezing the eyebrows.
Freezing me eyebrows.
No, that's my lighthouse apparently.
Yeah,
you're fond of me, lobster. I know you're fond of me, lobster.
You said it.
I've seen it. But there really is like this, like whenever in December for whatever reason, whenever it's like massively cold, there's like a comfort to it. There's like this sense of being able to go back inside, have like, if you have a fireplace in your house, have a fire, make some nice beverages, be that alcoholic or hot chocolate, whatever it is for you, and just get cozied up, put on blankets. It's always the time that I inevitably, because for me, winter usually, LA is a different beast. LA is 11 months of the same weather, and then 1 month of slightly colder weather, but still in the day, it's still decently hot, right?
Yeah.
It's still 70, but it's like 11 months of the same weather. And so I've noticed that with seasons, there is, when you have 4 seasons, there's a difference in your body with each season. So when like, let's start with spring, you get this excitement. Winter's finally ending, the snow is melting, and you're planning for what you're going to do in the summer, and you're excited about the summer, the trips, the family vacations, the weather, being outside. Then summer hits, you're at the beach, you're doing all this stuff, you're outdoorsy, you're going on hikes, you're enjoying the weather. Fall starts to hit, so then you begin to reflect. You reflect on all the accomplishments you did that year, all that shit, and then you kind of start to go inside. And then winter is the time when you do go kind of inside yourself. You kind of just like reflect on the year that you've had. You begin to plan for the year ahead, but mostly it's just the time where you slow down. And Christmas usually inevitably falls on that time.
Yeah.
And so being with family, being with friends, being within yourself is a huge thing. You don't get that in LA. LA is just like, there's no difference between February and October. So for you, it's just go, 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 and there's nothing outside of you to tell you to slow down, to tell you, hey, look, you can't do the same things you were doing before. And so for me, my favorite part of the holidays inevitably is that time where I do usually get to feel the chance to just slow down.
Yeah.
I'll inevitably start to read a lot more. There's this whole vibe where I don't have to go, go, go. And I don't do that in LA because I just constantly am grinding. You know, we both talk about it. So inevitably, my favorite part of the holidays is obviously family and friends and stuff, but it's that atmosphere, that cozy atmosphere of being able to slow down.
Now it's time to just...
Yeah. And there's just this reward kind of thing about it. We talked about gratitude a lot on this podcast. That kind of feels like the time where you start to be grateful for what you do have. And the holidays themselves, inevitably, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, try to reinforce that.
Well, you know, what's been interesting for me when it comes to Christmas, primarily, is that a lot of Christmases have been extremely stressful for me because there's this idea of, if your money ain't right and you want to get all these presents for these people, or if like you gotta, there's always been just an overflow of love that I've received during the Christmas time from all these different people who are now family, even though we don't share blood. And so, there's always this like, okay, I need to make sure money's right so I can do this thing. And so a lot of Christmases have actually reminded me of what I haven't done yet. It's always been like, this Christmas would be amazing if I had this prepared, or I had this prepared, or I was at this point in my life, or I was this. And so there has been sort of a weird negativity because I've been so inwardly judgmental. And that kind of puts a heavy burden on a lot of the Christmases for me. And this one is, I'm not saying I'm where I want to be, but this one feels a little different. There's a little more preparation. There's a little more cohesiveness. You were just, before this podcast, you were just saying how it feels like we're starting to kind of live our lives that we're supposed to be living.
Yes, I was very excited for this next year coming up.
Yeah, and so there is a lot of that energy of like, we got this podcast going, we're doing great on that, we're being consistent on that. We've gotten great responses from it. And then, I'm dating this wonderful lady. We've been dating for, going on 2 years. Like, that's going really well.
So
I got a solid, shut up. I got a solid group of friends out here. I'm looking forward to going back and seeing the family and friends that I got out in Colorado. So there's just a lot of things that are coming together this Christmas where I do feel a better vibe. I think I'm feeling the slowdown.
It's got a different vibe. It really does.
These next 9 days are going to be crazy.
Yeah.
But once we get there.
Once I think about it, the past 2 Christmases that I've had here, and I always spend them in Maine, and I will be going to Maine very shortly, but just the December itself while I've been in LA, it's got a different vibe here, man. I feel like we're getting more mature.
Are we?
Probably not.
We still tell poop jokes.
No scat jokes. That's
we still scat in the kitchen while doing dishes.
We use vocabulary, buddy. But for real, there's this sense in our lives of, like you said, we're not where we want to be, but we're getting the foundation laid, and that's a great feeling. I feel more comfortable with where I am in a lot of aspects of my life, more so than I had been in the past couple of years. So overall, yeah, I mean, it's feeling pretty good. I'm excited for this weekend that we have going on. We're going to have a little get-together. Small.
Oh, yeah. Small.
Don't shut off my power. shoving her news.
Yeah, it'd be like 5 of us getting together.
Yeah, and we've all been around. Like, we know where people have been.
This is what is it, the bubble that you're supposed to have, or
need
something
my
like
power.
that?
I seriously need my power. All right, so don't shut it off.
Shut it off while he's in Maine.
You know what good news is? Yeah, by the time you see this, I will be gone. So feel free to save us the electricity bill. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a nice little get together. We're setting up this little Christmas party that's gonna be there. I'm just excited.
It's a good time.
My mom does not like holidays.
Really?
She's one of the people that are very nervous about the anxiety and the stress that comes inevitably with the holidays. If it's a Thanksgiving thing, it's the preparation and the setup and the cooking and all that stuff, right? If it's Christmas, it's having to buy gifts for people and hustling and bustling and everything that leads up to it, right? And so she's very much just like, it ain't worth the inevitable stress that comes with it. So she's not a huge fan of them. I'm the exact opposite. I'm always getting on her case about it because I love the holidays, man. I love rituals. We've talked about it before, about rituals in life and everything. And so I'm a big fan of Halloween. I'm a big fan of Christmas, big fan of Thanksgiving, big fan of things where that day you just do the same thing that you kind of did before, but there are always these moments to, again, reflect on where you've been.
Okay, so paint to me. You like these rituals. You like these traditions. So paint to me your perfect. Like, let's say it's 10 years from now. You got kids now. Let's say you're successful financially. You're doing great. Paint to me
the perfect
Christmas Eve following to Christmas.
You're gonna really throw that on me.
I want you to.
What I'm doing?
Because in the kitchen it wasn't endearing. The whole scatting thing. I want the real endearing.
That was endearing, bro. That was great.
That was terrifying.
I'll film it. All right. Next time I'll not actually film that, but I'll do it. I'll do a movie, and that scene will be in there. It'll be endearing. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Yeah.
I'll make it happen.
So you don't have anything when you talk about the perfect thing. You don't have anything that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be the full time.
No, I mean. I don't really have anything that's like perfect in my head. Maybe I'll just pass that off to you because maybe you do. Because I don't really know. I know what I want to accomplish in 10 years, but I have no idea what my family life is going to be at that point. And to be honest with you, it actually terrifies me to think about that far ahead. It terrifies me to think about where I could be. Like right now, I'm kind of getting a little bit of anxiety, just being like how many kids will I have? Like, will I have any? Like, okay, what's the house setup going to be like? I don't. That's really weird that I'm feeling so put on the spot right now because usually you ask me what I want out of my life or my career professionally, I got it. I'm like, boom. So there's something to really look into there about the fact that personally, I'm
soul searching.
I just know that for a fact it's going to include a lot of Sinatra. It's going to include a nice record player setup. It's going to include some whiskey. It's going to include the family and the people that I love. And I enjoy the setup. So I want to have whatever the house that I'm in, I want the rooms to be lavishly decorated for Christmas. I'm talking lights and everything. Just like it's over the top.
Adorned with beauty.
Completely over the top. I used to love the smell of, because this is a fake Christmas tree. Because in California, it's very difficult to get real Christmas trees. But in Maine, you just go out to a Christmas tree farm and cut one down. And the smell of actual pine tree is amazing. And I used to love it so much that when I was a kid, I used to tell myself that in my future house, I will have a year-round Christmas room. Like the room will just be a Christmas room, and
that's interesting.
It'll have and I'll just be like, whenever if it's fucking April, if it's June, you can go in that room, and it feels like the holidays.
Interesting.
That was when I was a kid.
You know what's funny is I'm not saying this is a white versus black thing. I'm not saying it, but I just want to point out something. I never experienced a fake Christmas tree until I lived with white people. Okay. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know if it means anything.
Did you always get a real? Mm-hmm. Always got a real one. I mean,
living in San Diego, growing up, it was always a real tree. And I'm not. Again, I'm not. Yeah, maybe it's not. But,
I've always known it to just be a city thing, just because of how difficult. It could be. Just because of how difficult it can be to get. Real ones, the prep. A lot of people don't like the preparation of having to care for it, and the fact that
messy.
You buy this thing once, you can set it up for 10 Christmases or so. But yeah, I mean, I always prefer a real one.
I think I'm kind of similar to you, where to me it's more about the vibes, man. It's more about the atmosphere. So when you talk about my perfect Christmas Eve, it is purely about getting. So we used to play Soul Christmas. We used to play the Black Christmas album,
right?
And,
that is definitely a white versus black thing.
I assume so. So we used to play that and have a bunch of old school music, Christmas music playing. And so I'm a big thing. I don't care if everyone's doing the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. What I like is that everyone is in the same kind of mental space of just this serenity and this calm and this peace. Yeah. And then so I like the idea of having sort of an open home that has sort of an open setup where people can kind of see that they're not alone.
Is that like an open relationship?
Weird comparison. I can neither confirm nor deny. But I like the idea of everyone just being like, the kids are over here playing and doing their thing. I'm sitting on the chair being an old man with my pipe and watching my
and Uncle
my television
and Uncle
like
T
that.
is there with some tequila.
Yeah, you get it. And the ladies might be, I almost said the ladies are in the kitchen cooking. Is that sexist? I don't mean it that way.
If they want to,
they want to be there. So like, let's say it's with Amanda. Amanda, she loves cooking and baking and stuff. So I she's in there doing her thing, and the ladies are drinking wine and laughing. I like the idea that everyone's doing their own thing.
Grandma's like hanging out.
We're kind of all in the same environment. We're all there for the night. Everyone's going to spend the night. We'll wake up and have a big get together. That kind of paints the vibe for me.
What you're looking at is, and to go off of that, like what you're looking at is that community, that sense of. And I used to always daydream, because I do know that I was telling Brittany this. The day that I become more of the head of the family. Like, there's always that time where, you get older, and then you guys are in charge of organizing family events. It used to be the parents, and then before that, it used to be their parents, right? And there's always a time. And so I'm looking forward to that time when me and my cousins are the ones that, our parents are like, I ain't dealing with that bullshit, A
lot of people are scared of that time.
I'm always excited for it because of my own granddad. My grandpa used to, he was always the guy that organized the stuff. I told you that these glasses are from his restaurant, right?
Cheers.
Cheers, Grampy. He owned a golf course because he was a big golfer. So he bought a small course when he was beginning to retire. It was about a 9-hole golf course, had a restaurant on it, had a motel on it, and it was by the river. Great little spot, and he got to enjoy golf year-round, or as year-round as you can get in Maine. And so utilizing that, though, he was always the guy to organize the family events. He was the type of guy that would bring everybody together every year. So he was probably the guy who instilled in me, just from his own actions, my love of holidays and everything. Like, even
was it every holiday, or was it just Christmas?
I remember specifically Christmas, but it might have been others. But I do know, like, he was always the guy that if we were doing family trips, like we always used to go down to these condos in South Carolina, and I don't know if he paid for it or if he just organized it with people. I have no idea how it happened. I was just a little kid. But we used to get these condos in South Carolina, and we'd rent them for a week, and every family had, like, its own condo.
That's awesome.
And they were connected by a bridge. So you could, like, close the door to the bridge when you want your own privacy, but then you could open them up, and, like, the cousins could come and play, and the uncles could all hang out and stuff like that. And it was just this really wonderful week in the summer that we would always do. And then I would assume that there were things in Thanksgiving, but I always remembered the Christmases. Yeah. Always. Because whether it was in their, they had this big living room in the motel that had this huge wraparound couch, like one of those old 70s designs. And so everyone on the family could basically fit on this couch. At least when you were a kid, that's what it felt like. And we would either have Christmases there, or he would just like clear out the whole back of the restaurant that he owned. And we would just have these huge families, like, get-togethers where everyone in the family would come, and you had access to the whole...
How big's your family? We dealing with, like, 20, 30, to 10 to 15?
It's not super big. My mom... So it was my grandpa, it was my grandmother, and then they had 3 kids. So then you have 3 aunts, basically, with their husbands, and then it was me and my brother... And then there were 3 kids with another aunt, and then there were 2 kids with another.
You just threw a lot of numbers at me.
Yeah, so I'm looking at probably
round it up. What are we dealing with?
Probably about 20-ish.
20?
20, okay. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less.
And now consistently during Christmas, all you guys would get together?
We would always get together.
That's awesome.
And I still have pictures of those get-togethers, and it used to be like, you had the bar back there, so all the adults, because there was the bar that would be in the back room and stuff, so all the adults could just make their own drinks. You had whole access to a fully stocked restaurant bar for whatever you wanted, and the kids could have their stuff. And it was just like this really beautiful time of family. And then he passed away in 2004 from cancer. And there was a huge period where none of that happened. There was nobody to organize these family get-togethers, and everyone just kind of went their separate ways for a long time. Like, there was a huge time where I just don't really remember really talking to a lot of my cousins.
Is this your mom's father? Or your
my mom's,
okay.
My mom's father. And, like, my Grammy was still there for a very, very long time. She only passed away about 3 years ago. My Grampy passed away in 2004. So, but there were never really any more get-togethers. There was no one to organize it, and no one really cared enough.
No one took up the mantle.
No. Like, we used to maybe go to, like, a buffet with my Grammy, and it was my mom and, like, my stepdad. And that was
That's
like it.
Such an abrupt stop.
Yeah, and as a kid, it really hits you. It really hits you of like, oh, we used to, every year, South Carolina trips and Christmas and even Thanksgivings, I'm sure we did. It was just like, oh, and then just in 2004 to 2005, also that was the year that that was around the year my parents got finally divorced. So it was just this huge, abrupt family life thing
man.
where it's just like, phew,
Was the first Christmas without it pretty rough?
I don't really remember. But I do know that nowadays I have this huge thing in me that instills, like, when I can have control enough of, like, I'm going to organize this stuff. If I have the money or I have the time, I want to take over that role that my Grampy had. And it was such a thing when I was a kid. And so I think that's why I enjoy
And
the
it
holidays.
makes sense. You're, if anyone knows you, you're a great host.
Yeah.
You're great at having people over and making that space.
I appreciate that. A lot of that's because of Katie, who is still in Maine right now.
It's both of you, man. It's both
amazing.
of you. There's different parts of it that you guys both handle. But
and I love those things, And so for me, that you were talking about what your ideal, Christmas would be, and it had that community, and that's what I would also appreciate as well. Whether that's at my house or at another location that everyone organizes, because to me, that's what the holidays are about. And I know for a fact that I became more distant with my cousins during that period where we didn't get together. And I don't know if that would have changed if we had consistently gotten together over the years of the holidays. I have no idea. I can only speculate. But I do know that it couldn't have hurt.
yeah.
And so if I can help that for the next generation in my family, and I can be that guy that just takes over the man, because I think really what it is just a stressful thing. Having to organize everything, make everyone's schedules work out. If you're paying for a lot of it, the financial burden of it, I think it's just really stressful. No one wanted to take that over, but I'm more than willing to do so if I'm in a position to do so.
Yeah.
So I
a lot of it tends to be resources, man. And if you got the resources, I feel like I love the idea of being like my favorite thing. Even my roommate is big on holidays and decorating and whatnot. And
she sounds like a fucking loser.
She's pretty awful.
Anyone who's not aware, she's like literally sitting behind Freddie.
Yeah, her and Amanda are right behind me. But there was a moment she sent me. So we've had issues in the past because she's been like, hey, I have an evening that I want to do because her family used to make a big deal out of Christmas and we were living out here in LA and really there wasn't a whole lot. She didn't have the same family environment, and so she'd be like, let's do a night where we watch either Christmas stuff, listen to we want to do Christmas things. And
this was during Christmas time. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Wasn't
not just random like in June,
March 13th.
Yeah. And we had several
because that would be crazy.
Yeah.
It's March 13th. It's like, let's just listen to Christmas music. Let's decorate the house.
It'd be almost as crazy as having like a year-round Christmas room.
Right, but no one's actually doing that because that's a kid's fucking dream. It's a kid's dream.
But
I told you that in privacy.
on the mic.
Stop. I can cut that out.
But we had some arguments because she was like, it didn't happen. So Kevin Hart has a joke where he says, I know that sounds random.
Your brain is working at a mile a minute.
Kevin Hart has a joke where he was like, I get mad at my kids because I'll tell them to do something and they'll do it, but they won't do it in the way that I want them to do it in my head.
Sure.
And that's kind of what happened. She's like, she had an image, but she didn't relay the image to me properly,
right.
So it didn't happen the way she wanted it to happen. And so I let it down. And my thing is, I love the vibe of Christmas. I love the environment of Christmas. I'm like the old man who wants to sit down and share, like I said, with his pipe, with his drink, and then just watch everybody.
Watch it. Yes.
Like, oh, you're putting up.
Yes.
Oh, that's so. And then I just want to problem solve.
We're gonna be kick-ass grandpas.
Oh yeah,
because that's what we're gonna be doing.
I'm there to problem solve. My thing is, I want to sit there with my pipe, just sitting there smoking, enjoying my drink, and then like literally this last time that we decorated, Taylor properly worded the text to me. She goes, "Hey, I want to, when you guys come back up, I want to decorate stuff." And she said, "Correction, I want you to sit in your chair and drink while we decorate stuff." And I was like, "You're getting it. You're getting it."
After 4 years of living with me, you finally get how I work.
That's how I want to be. I want to be able to, if I could provide the home, the space, the money, the resources.
You're like Mufasa talking to Simba in Disney. You're like, everything the light touches is our kingdom. You're sitting in your chair with your pipe.
Exactly. Hey, look, don't touch that. That's the darkness, boy. Don't touch that. That's how I'm gonna talk to my kids. Hey, come here.
It's like a dog.
I'm gonna have a spray bottle for each child.
You have a pipe and a spray bottle, and you're gonna be lock and loaded, baby. You're gonna be lock and loaded.
But yeah, I love the idea when you talk about, being the person who facilitates that. That's a big thing for me. I don't necessarily, there's not specific traditions that I necessarily care about. I just like the environment. I like the serenity, the camaraderie, that slowdown that we talked about. That's my big thing.
It's got to be, because we're talking about like grandpa shit as we're joking, right? But it's got to be one of those things that if you are a parent or even a grandparent, especially as you get older in life, those traditions have to begin to mean more to you because you are physically seeing the growth of a family. If you're a parent, then yes, you get your kids and you get to see the growth of your kids, and that's wonderful. But as a grandparent, I can only imagine, like, not only are you seeing now your kids are grown and they're where you used to be when it was Christmas time, but now they have kids. And so you're just seeing like this exponential growth, and it's really got to be a time of reflection as the years go on. And so it's kind of wild because I know my mom doesn't like holidays and she doesn't like those traditions, and that's fine. She's more than down if someone else is organizing it to be a part of those. So I know that if I organize this family get together, she will be there. Absolutely. But it's interesting to me because it does feel like if you don't participate in those, you do lose that ability to just slow down for a second and be like, wow, where were we last year? Where were we 5 years ago? Where were we 20 years ago?
Well, and there's something to be said. Okay, so in a way of like making sort of a statement of like that position, the head of the house, to create these moments, these spaces where kids are allowed to be kids and everyone can come together as family, and they create these memories of, Grampy's getting it all set together, and the condos and the bridges and the restaurant. It's not just a good time. What it does is that, like, dating a woman who has a 6-year-old child, now 7, recently 7. I've been a part of making certain magics happen that I forgot existed.
Really?
Like, there was one time Easter morning where I ran to the store at like 6, 7 in the morning, grabbed a bunch of just $20 worth of stuff at like a dollar store of Easter stuff, and we hid stuff around because we couldn't do Easter because it was COVID, and so we hid little eggs around, and then I put
Freddie filled them in little mini tequila nips.
Yeah,
and he was like, "You found it. That's
you
mine.
can't have that for a few years.
Thanks for bringing that my way."
The Easter Bunny cares about adults
He's
too.
like, "Look at this magic that's happening that I created."
Yeah, but I remember him waking up and he, was looking around and he saw the eggs and was like, "What? Oh my God, the Easter Bunny came!" And like,
I will say, Jeremy, after meeting him, he's a very excitable dude. He gets very excited about things. He's like, "What?"
What's funny is all of this was, to be blunt, relatively stupid to me until
what?
He woke up and I saw that he had a magic in his eyes. And so,
look at you. I could see the heart in you just growing 3 sizes.
It's slower than that.
1.25 the sizes.
And so I do think that when you're the head of the house, what you do is facilitate that sort of magic. You keep that alive in the younger generation, and I think that's an important thing to do, to give to the youth that are coming up the same innocence that you were allowed to have. It sucks to rob someone of their childhood and rob them of those same experiences. So there is a moment where, like, let the kids believe in Santa. Let them have that. Let this be a time that they get to slow down, because the older you get, the less you get to slow down. The more you have to solve problems and and handle things and figure out the way things are going to happen, so much so that it becomes more of a stress. People like your mom's not the only one. There's tons of people who were just stressed out during Christmas time or any holiday, and they go, it's just not worth the stress.
And to be fair, it's one thing to be 26, 27, 28, whatever in your 20s and be like, I love the holidays. And it's another to have endured 15, 16, 17 years of Christmases with kids. My mom's had to. My mom's mom's through the ringer. Dude.
Yeah, the difference between being 20-something and 40-something is we know how good it can be. Yeah,
we're
they
optimistic.
Know how bad it can
we're
be.
Optimistic. And they're like, buddy, I've been there. I've done that. They have a little cigarette in their mouth. And they're like, I am done with that shit.
It feels like there's phases. When you're young, it's like, oh my God, look at all the magic. Like it's here. I don't even know how it happens. And then you're older and you're like, okay, all that magic, I know I can make that happen. And then when you're like in your 40s, you're like, that magic is hard to make happen.
Dead.
Trust me, King. Trust me. I tried my best.
I used to be optimistic like you.
I gave it a good fight. Christmas took me down.
Kicks your ass, drags you by the teeth, pulls you up, says, I'll be back. For real though, but hey, cheers to all the parents making Christmases work, and cheers to all the people who still believe in that sense of love and community that the holidays ultimately should bring. They become watered down and beat up by, obviously, consumerism and a lot of stuff where it's like, you gotta buy these presents for people, and you gotta do all this, and you gotta buy the decorations. I get the negative outlook on it, but at the heart of it all, I think we should always keep in mind what these holidays are about, which is bringing people together and doing good in the world for your fellow human beings.
Yeah, there was a quote. I hope it's wisdom that they said, but the quote was essentially like, wisdom is planting a tree that you will never see grow, so that someone else can sit in the shade of it. I just bastardized that quote, but that's the premise.
Sounds like you were mixing Dave Matthews with Hamilton for some reason.
I'll kill you.
It sounded like
it's Dave Hamilton.
It sounded like
Alexander Matthews.
Because he says in Hamilton, he goes, "What is a legacy? It's setting the seeds or whatever for a plant, whatever you never get to see." And I was like, but it also sounds like Dave Matthews, like growing tree or what?
Yeah,
what's the name
Dreaming
of
Tree?
Dreaming
Tree.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe that's a lyric, Dreaming Tree. I was like, is there a hodgepodge happening? Is there a mashup?
I don't know what the quote is. Look it up. It's beautiful. Okay. But if the premise is.
Look it up.
Look it up. The premise is you plant a tree that you yourself won't see grow. So you don't benefit from the tree itself, but what you do is provide something so that later someone can sit underneath the shade of that tree. And when it comes to these holidays, that's what you got to be. If you're in the stage where you and I are at, where we're looking at potentially being the head of houses and we're trying to facilitate that magic for not only ourselves but for the people around us, or if you're someone who's older and you are starting a family, this is all about giving. Like, we all have these beautiful memories, hopefully, these beautiful memories of Christmas time and being with family and not having to worry about anything. And as you get older, the worry just stacks on, and it's kind of, I don't want to say our job, but in my opinion, it's our job to take on that burden, because with our growth came a certain level of strength. We are now, in some ways, equipped for that burden, and so now we get to go, I'm going to carry that so that the next generation gets to enjoy that same innocence and that same magic, and it's supposed to kind of give back, hopefully. And so that's just a long way of agreeing with you, man. It's about coming together and doing that shit.
I mean, that's where it leads, you know? It is that idea of, like, my grandfather was able to instill in me that love for it, and now I want to try to instill that in the next generation. So absolutely, it just consistently gives back. And so overall, I just want to take this opportunity, wish everybody that's listening, seriously, all the supporters, everybody, that you guys have been amazing. We're so eternally grateful for you guys starting us off on such a high note, really. I know the numbers seem paltry compared to professional podcasts and everything like that, but they all got to start somewhere. And so we are eternally grateful for every single one of you people that are listening, that are sharing, that are loving this. And happy holidays, you guys. No matter what you celebrate, I really hope that you get to celebrate it with the people that you love in your life and the friends and the family that have made it great so far.
Oh, yeah. And to top it all off, have yourself a merry It's Mariah Carey. Look, Christmas.
It'd be a lot better if you start scatting right now.
Have yourself Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You guys have a wonderful time. I hope you're enjoying your Christmas. It's been beautiful sharing a drink with you.
Cheers, everybody.
Thanks for joining the Watering Hole.
Join us at the Watering Hole in 2021.
Oh,
hey!
big bang. Bye.